How is everybody doing today? And in this video, we are going to be talking about the one character that everybody's excited for in the rerun, and that is going to be Fu Xuan. And with Fu Xuan out, or about to be out when it comes to a rerun, a lot of people are excited for her to be on the account, especially with how much praise the community has given her for being one of the better sustains in the game for sure. And not only is she going to allow your team to be a basically god mode status, but also allow you to get some nasty buffs from her, which are the main selling point of Fu Xuan. I can't wait to talk about more of it. We're going to be talking about her kit. We're going to be talking about the changes that's been since she released up until now. We're also going to be talking about her light cone because some people might want to pull the light cone after getting her the last time, and then maybe an eidolon or two when it comes to what is worth it and if you really need it for Fu Xuan. So before we get into all that, make sure to leave a like, comment, sub, all that different type of stuff, and also let me know down in the comments below, do y'all have your Clocky statue max? Do you have E5 Harmony Trailblazer? Because for me, I'm still at like level 27. I have no idea how y'all did that. So I'm trying to go on my stream and actually grind out all the credits, and it's absolutely insane how long it takes. But going back into the video, talking about Fu Xuan, she is quantum preservation, and usually preservation units give shields. She does not. She does it in a different manner, a little bit of a cooler manner in my opinion, just because it allows it so you don't have to worry about the shield. It's more like, I'm gonna take the damage you would have taken, let me lower it, and then let me give it to me. Well, that kind of sounds like a bad thing for a sustain. In Fu Xuan's case, it really isn't, because Fu Xuan, when she falls below a certain amount of HP, when she's taking in that damage, she actually can reverse it or give basically her whole health bar back, making it that all the damage the enemy just did to you is kind of wasted for the most part. So that's the really cool thing about Fu Xuan. She doesn't give a generic shield like the rest of the guys, but she actually lowers the damage that you would have taken, splits it off into Fu Xuan, and then Fu Xuan reverses it and says, I don't know what damage you just did, you wasted your time, all that different type of stuff. Really good thing when it comes to Fu Xuan and how she sustains. It makes it so that it's almost impossible to get one shot to a specific character, because they will be taking less damage, and then they of course get split off into Fu Xuan. So all that, I guess you could say, percentage being taken away from the damage lowering to redirected to reverse, you really basically benefit at the end of the day, because all that damage is basically vanished into thin air, and none of it really mattered for the most part. And to make it even better, not only is she a preservation character that's able to redirect and mitigate damage, she also can heal off her ultimate to be able to give back the little bit of health you probably would have lost on your characters. And this makes it even better to be able to keep her as sustained, because you don't have to worry about the health whittling down, having no way to bring it back up. Fu Xuan does heal on ultimate, and Fu Xuan heals herself. So it's just overall a really good amount of sustain when it comes to not getting one shot and also having the healing to be able to deal with longer fights, which is really good for Fu Xuan's case. But to talk about the main thing that she is no use for is going to be the fact that she can give not only max HP increase, which is really good, not necessarily the best on Blade, because that would be the only character for the most part that would enjoy that, just because the max HP boost is what he scales off of. But in the long run, Blade does want to get hit the most and take the most damage so that he's able to stack his ultimate. But the main thing we're talking about today is Fu Xuan's crit rate boost, and this goes up to 12% when it's leveled up to 10, which is a massive boost to a lot of different characters and could be a godsend for certain builds when it comes to pushing you past possibly the 90%, making it so that you're always critting 100% of the time, or making you just overall get 100% crit rate. Having this extra crit rate thrown onto your character is a very strong thing to have, and it's honestly not too insane to build her as well, because when it comes to Fu Xuan's building, please please don't look at this build. For the most part, mine is the most weirdest build for Fu Xuan. I will tell you the actual build for her. For the most part, you do want Longevous Disciple to be able to give her max HP, of course, with how high you want her HP to be, so that she's able to take in all the damage your teammates would have and survive to the point where when it's time for her to use her ability, she's not dead already. So you want to be able to have her with a high amount of HP so that she's able to take in that damage and then reverse it when she gets the chance. Another thing that is also really good for having Fu Xuan is also having the Wuthering Snow Relic, which I have no idea if I have one right here. I usually delete them all. But for the most part, the Wuthering Snow Relic, I don't have any piece. That's insane. It reduces damage you take. So overall, your damage mitigation off of your talent alone. Not only that, you are redirecting it to Fu Xuan, and now she's reducing the damage she takes from that as well. I think that's how that works. But so those are usually the two things that they give. Some people do give the defense percentage relic just to be able to give a lower damage intake when it comes to the damage she's taking with the 2-piece defense. So there's a lot of different options that you can give Fu Xuan when it comes to 2-piece Longevous Disciple, 2-piece of the defense set, or 2-piece of Wuthering Snow, whereas the damage reduce set, which allows her to tank in a lot more damage, making it a lot easier for her to survive in those really strenuous situations where you're taking a fat ton of damage. Now, the only bosses or enemies that you will have a tough time to go against when it comes to Fu Xuan is Sam. Sam is going to make it hard for Fu Xuan to be able to do her job, just because he gives a tick no matter what to whoever's using a skill point. And not only that, the heals that you give from your characters are getting reduced by a heavy amount. So Fu Xuan is lowering her healing to herself by a great amount, and the small bit of healing that you have from Fu Xuan's ultimate to your allies also get decreased by a good amount. So the fact that you don't have a shield or anything to stop that, or massive healing to be able to boost you above a certain amount to be able to make it so that you survive Sam's attacks, it is a little bit hard to use Fu Xuan unless you have a really well built one with like Wuthering Snow, Longevous, all that different type of stuff to be able to make it so that you're able to nuke him down before he nukes you down for the most part. And another area where she does struggle a slight bit is Simulated Universe, where it comes to Golden Gears and also Storm Disaster. It's usually only around the beginning part, only because with her being able to not give a shield or not give heal, you don't really get to benefit a lot from the preservation or abundance pass of blessings, which usually have some really cracked out stuff with it. For Fu Xuan's case, if an enemy does a nasty AoE, which we know those bosses in those modes really hurt, then for the most part she gets one-shotted, just because she's taking all that damage in from everybody else, and from where they would have died, now Fu Xuan is guaranteed to be dead. So there's certain situations where you can make her work in those modes, but besides that, MLC Pure Fiction aside, which are the main content of the game after you beat those modes, you basically are god mode for everything. She has been good in every single MOC on one side or not, and the fact that she's as universal as she is when it comes to her being a sustainer, because as long as someone wants crit rate, it works 100% of the way. When it comes to characters like Jing Yuan, a character who really doesn't want to be CC'd, which she gives CC prevention, well, now one of his biggest weaknesses isn't so big anymore. And not only that, you're also given a little bit of crit rate, which makes it a lot more consistent for his Lightning Lord to hit harder. Another application for her is also Mono Quantum. Now that we have Silver Wolf, Sparkle, and Celet, well, guess what? Now you can throw on Fu Xuan and you have the full Mono Quantum team with that extra crit rate, and also helping out the rest of the team not die, and also all that different type of good stuff. It's really good to see that we have a character that's be able to put on many different teams as long as they want crit. The only characters that don't want Fu Xuan are Blade Enthusiasts and also Dot, because Dot doesn't really care about crit. But other than that, these characters are absolutely, or Fu Xuan specifically, is absolutely perfect for almost every team. You couldn't go wrong with summoning her in the first place. So if you are wondering, is she still worth it in version 2.2? I would 100% say yes. She is still one of the best sustains at the end of the day. But if you have 2 sustains already, you might have to relook at this situation, because if you have 2 sustains already, whether it be Luocha and Aventurine, or maybe let's say Aventurine and REHOO, there's kind of no reason to go for Fu Xuan. If you already have 2 sustainers to be able to keep you alive in the majority of the content that you're in, when it comes to Simulated Universe, when it comes to MOC or Pure Fiction, there's really no need for an extra sustain, because you already have those 2 teams filled out. And for the most part, I'm assuming the next endgame mode we're going to get as well also is going to require 2 teams for the most part, I would assume. So there would be no reason to pull for another sustain. So if you don't have a sustainer, or you're getting your very first sustainer, Fu Xuan is 1000%, I would say, worth it to summon on 100%. When it comes to having more than 2 sustains, I would kind of close that route of going for a second sustain, just because it's not really needed. The crit rate boost is really cool, and the god mode status that you have with Fu Xuan is really nice. But if you have 2 sustains that are already doing that job, and you're 3-starring MOC, there's kind of really no point for it. Now, talking about our light cone, I will say this no matter what when it comes to all sustainer light cones for the most part, unless there's something really crazy. I do not advise anyone to get the light cone, although it is really cool. You're guaranteed to have basically full HP when it comes to the end of every wave, or the start of every wave. You also get a nice max HP boost, energy regeneration rate, so that you're able to do your ultimate more often. And you also have all allies damage dealt increases, which is a really nice buff to have, which is really cool. Now, the only problem is we still have really good options for you to rock if you don't necessarily want to have the signature light cone, because you can rock Moment of Victory, increase the defense, which in turn makes that Fu Xuan could take in more damage, which helps a lot. The effect hit rate really doesn't matter, and then the wear is to be able to attack more, which of course, as a preservation unit, you want to be able to take the brunt of all the damage. And if you are taking the damage, guess what? Fu Xuan gets to reverse it anyway. So as long as you're not hitting the other guys or you're not hitting the other allies, that's a win-win situation if you have Moment of Victory on. And then not only that, we also have Trending Universal Market. I have seen people use this with Acheron, so this is actually a really good synergy, because if Fu Xuan does get hit, then Acheron gets a stack, and the fact that Acheron gets crit rate from Fu Xuan allows you to put a little bit more crit damage into her build, making her nuke a lot better. There are other options. I've seen people use Texture of Memories. I've seen people to use Lionel's Choice. There's a lot of really good light ones that you can use that aren't the signature weapon, and I just think a lot of the signature weapons for the sustainers and for the support characters aren't really needed, just because I feel like the substitutions that we do have in the 4-star options are just much better for the most part. And then lastly, talking about the Eidolons, for E1, it gives you a crit damage boost. Really cool in my honest opinion to be able to have a character that gives not only 10% crit rate, but also 30% crit damage. That's actually insane to have as a character. In my opinion, I do think Fu Xuan is a perfect, and I mean literally perfect character without Eidolons for the most part. She doesn't really need this crit damage boost. And then E2 gives it to where, oh, she gets a Bailu revive, which is really cool to see in all honesty. Makes it so that if you have very big skill issue, you have your character, even if they somehow died and Fu Xuan isn't dead for the most part, then you can come back up as a revive, which is really cool. I think that's a really nice Eidolon. Really no reason to go for either or. I think Fu Xuan works as a perfect character at E0, and she can definitely go by without having her signature light cone as well. So other than that, that's going to be it when it comes to Fu Xuan. And if you should summon for her in version 2.2, I would 100% say yes if you're looking forward to her. Good boost of crit rate, CC prevention, all that damage being mitigated, redirected, and then reversed. It's so many good things that she has, and that's why she is a great and a god tier sustainer for the most part, alongside Aventurine. So if you're looking forward to getting Fu Xuan, go ahead. If you already have 2 sustains, well, I guess it's time to skip. See y'all guys when it comes to Boo Hill, and hopefully when it releases, we get to try about all the different types of stuff. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. See y'all on the next one. Peace.